Hey guys, BAKD here. Today we are going over the Hound 3, the tech level 10 variant of the Hound. This thing has just a slight edge on the Hound 2, but before we get into it, let's look at the Hound 2 really quick in the market. Now, if you really are into min-maxing, getting the Hound 3 is definitely going to give you a slight edge over the Hound 2, but it's so minimal that it honestly doesn't matter too much. Now, if you just look through all of these really quick, I might put a screenshot of the Hound 3 stats, and you can kind of compare the differences there. It gets, I think, just a slight damage boost. Let's go into the Hound 3. Yep, just a slight damage boost. The velocity per expert frigate command is still 5%, but it's 399 velocity as the base speed and 386. And when you start rigging this thing and putting nano cores on it, that 100% affects how fast you can make this thing go. So I sold my Hound 3 Hound 2 for a Hound 3. But let's go ahead and just look into skills for building your Hound 3. Now, you are tech level 10, so I don't need to tell you that you need pretty high frigate skills to fly this ship properly. Now, expert frigate command is pretty necessary if you want to achieve the speeds that I'm going. This gives a 10% velocity for level 5, just base. And it gives a 5% bonus per level, just as the like the roll bonus of the Hound. When you train into it, it gives you 25%. I'm not sure how that works, if it's just a flat 25 or whatever you want to say. Now, micro warp drive is pretty important. At minimum, I would recommend 553 for this. And you can cut a little bit off if you're only 3 there. You don't get any warp drive boost, so actually 5.5 would be the minimum. Now if you scroll down to level 4 here and 5, you get a 8 and 15% warp drive boost. That will get you even faster. So you definitely want to train 555. You're going to see I'm going to get a 7% velocity boost in exactly 4 hours. I was going to wait to make this video, but I don't have time later today. Electronic engineering and stuff, I am 555. I would recommend as high engineering skills as you can, because you have to lock people down and hold them for long enough to not run out of cap. 554 on electronic warfare. I think this helps your your disruptors and stuff, your capacitor usage on that. Now, one of the other necessary skills here, advanced large missile torpedo. Now, I am only 5.4 and 4.4 in this specific skill set. Let's go down here. So it is advanced large missile torpedo upgrade. You get a huge boost, all of these bonuses, and flight time velocity, which you can shoot farther by 10%. If you can get that to level 5, that is going to be big for your Hound. It is not necessary. I am 5.4 like I said, and 4.4 on the missiles, and I'm sitting at 532 damage per second, which is pretty darn beefy. Now, we have all the skills out of the way, and of course you can add targeting and all that stuff, but I'm sure you guys all know that by now. But your power grid on these are extremely low, at 7 power grid per large torpedo. You want to get the best torpedoes money can buy. You are going to be slapping some major cheeks with this. You have to realize, well, we'll get into that in a minute. So 4 large torpedoes. I did 2 Predator disruptors because I want to stay out of the scram and web range of battleships. Unfortunately, I wouldn't recommend running scrams because you can die just as easily if you get within that range. So 4 points is the max if you're going to be tackling. Now, I have an Explorer Resonance Scanner, a minimum scan of 121, and a scan radius 184. So I can pretty much scan all cruisers and up without alerting them. I do not have any scan rigs on this ship, so that is with 554 skills and the best scanner man can buy. I have a C-type small shield booster. Now I can run a large and it heals, or not a large, a medium booster, and it heals a lot more, but it will cap you out twice as fast, and you just can't run it. So I wouldn't recommend it. I have really good skills in shields, but you just don't want to cap yourself out. Now a Mark 9 Cover Ops, of course the best one you can buy for the lowest scan resolution adjustment. You can lock faster out of stealth, and a C-type micro warp drive. Rig wise, I did no DPS rigs, which you can trade for. I would trade 1 or 2, but I did 2 velocities and a flight time bonus. The velocities help the missiles get to your destination faster and you don't lose them, and the flight time is for longer flight time to your target, whatever you want to call it. On the electronics side, we did 2 tier 3 velocities and 1 inertia. Now the inertia isn't necessary, but I feel like I want to keep my orbit safer and tighter, and if somebody tries to slingshot me, I may have a chance of correcting my orbit fast enough for them to not get me. Now with all those rigs, my missiles are at 24 kilometers, so you typically want to orbit around 18 or 19 kilometers, so you will kind of go off to about 20 or 21. Your missiles should still hit within that 2 kilometer buffer that we have, and you should be able to disrupt them safely at 30 kilometers and safely tackle them. Now on the low slot down here on the nano core, I got a Hound Angel Veteran core. Now the difference between this and the Recruit is a 3.4% difference, but I am really crunching some numbers out of this, and I want to be able to tackle drone boats. You do not want to tackle Prophecies or Vexor snipers, because they get a velocity boost to their drones and they will absolutely shred you, unless done properly, and that's kind of more of an advanced topic. But I think it goes from 14 to 17.4 for the veterans, so I went all out on this. For some reason on my tablet it doesn't show the color of my nano core. If anybody knows why, just let me know. When I switch to my phone, it does have the color, but I have all my settings to max. I don't have anything turned off. So alright, that's all I have for the fittings. You can definitely adjust these accordingly. You could pop a damage control on there if you want, a cap battery if you don't think you're going to get hit. For a cheaper fitting, now you can go a lot cheaper on this. Of course, Republic fleets, just about everything there. You will cut a little bit of speed out of your build. You can do tier 2. I would do all 3 as extra range, just so you don't lose any missiles. They take forever to shoot, and if you lose one, that cuts out a lot of your DPS. So if you have like all damage rigs and it goes up to 700 DPS and you miss one shot, you pretty much missed. I don't know how long does this take? Reload time 10 seconds. So you miss 10 seconds of DPS and then another 10 seconds to fire, so that's 20 seconds without doing any damage to your target. So I found the range is definitely better, but just remember tier 2s can suffice. Now, for the low slots, you can attempt to do 3 tier 1 velocities. You do have to be a little bit more careful, because you will be slightly slower. You will still get pretty good speeds out of it. And a veteran nano core will definitely suffice as well. Or a recruit core, my bad. It's a lot cheaper one, and it gives you 14 or 15% velocity. But yeah, so you can go a lot cheaper. You don't have to build it just extremely expensive like me. I'm kind of a whale, and I like to min-max my ships. I'm trying to think of new intricate ways of tackling these drone boats and these ships that are over 150 kilometers away. I'm tired of them warping off or being too far in the distance where they just see me and get out of there. So I'm building these intricate builds to be able to get on top of them and tackle those people that are sitting off into the distance. Now, looking at my navigation speed, I am topping 1,000 meters a second with my stealth. So when you stealth, I'm going 1,000 meters a second towards somebody, and that is very good. That's as fast as some ships go with an afterburner on, so you are just going to be mobbing. But on a side note, let's go ahead and undock, and let's check out how fast this puppy can actually go.
Undocking.
Okay, let's orbit this guy. Let's set it to 17. Gauge our warp drive. And let's go through our fitting menu because I can. We are going 4892 meters a second, and after I get my next micro warp drive level, which I might show you in the next clip, I should be going around 5,000 meters a second. Now, am I orbiting? Nothing. Oof, I am just mobbing in this thing. So I can pretty much tackle 3/4 of drone boats. Now, like I said, don't attack prophecies or Vexor snipers unless you have a secondary tackle set up for yourself. You will get completely shredded and have to warp out, or you may just die. Now let's go ahead and orbit. I'm at 17 kilometers, 16, 18, 19, 20, 21. So it takes a second to get my orbit, but now I'm sitting comfortably at about 19, 20 kilometers. My missiles should hit and they shouldn't be able to slingshot me. So it only takes a second there. We're going 4,400 meters a second with an orbit speed, which is 200 more than my Hound 2 was going. So I got a little bit extra speed out of it. A few tips for flying this thing solo. This thing does not work well hunting miners, even retrievers. You do not do much damage. Ventures, even if you have a web and a scram and they're barely moving, you do like 100 damage of volley, so I wouldn't go out in a Hound 3 trying to hunt ventures. Retrievers, you do a pretty average 500 damage a volley, maybe a little more, but you're just, they might newt you and they might kill you, so you'll die in your Hound 3 to a retriever, and that'll be pretty embarrassing. Now, a few ships you want to avoid, other than the two I mentioned earlier. You do not want to attack most cruisers alone. If you attack a stabber or a Navy Vexor, they have the potential of getting on top of you. They can slingshot you very easily, and you're not going to be doing much damage. So even if you don't get slingshotted right away, they're going to have multiple attempts because your large missiles are going to be shooting off 200-300 volleys, up to about 600, but they can out-rep you in a sense and have more chances to kill you. So I would not recommend fighting cruisers in this. I would go for battle cruisers, which are much slower, and you do quite a bit more DPS to them, and battleships. And of course, if you find a procurer, you can give that a shot. They're going to do pretty good damage to a procurer, but usually they have pretty good tank. If they have a newt, they'll newt you, and you'll have to just run. But yeah, that's all I have for my build and my fittings on the Hound 3. Before we get into the rest of the video and wrapping it up and stuff, let me know in the comments how you have your Hound built. Are you going all out speed like I am, or all out DPS? Are you flying this in fleets, or are you having any luck solo PvPing? just let me know in the comments. Other people read this stuff and they will take my advice and yours, and they will give their favorite build a try. But this is just kind of going over how I have my Hound 3 built and how I'm going to be flying it. So yeah, let's get right into the rest of the video. Now this is another build that I have. This is for like retriever hunting. Of course the rigs, you want all out DPS, not the range rigs that I have. You can suffice everything for T10 rigs, is 100% acceptable for this. These large torpedoes don't do much damage to retrievers, so hopefully you can out DPS them, but you want to do 2 accelerator rigs and 1 collision. Now you go with 3 scrams, that's a total of 12 points, and in some cases retrievers don't have that many points, but it's like a 50-50 shot. I stuck a afterburner on there just to be able to get away from like a web and a scram if it's a trap retriever. You do want to go with your ballistic control system just for all out DPS, your cloaking device, and potentially you don't need the afterburner, but this is kind of to save your life if the retriever completely scrams, webs and newts you, what have you. But let's go ahead and just check our speeds really quick on our retriever hunting build. These do not do any damage to Venture 3s. You'll be shooting it literally for an hour. So potentially doing small torpedoes or small missiles in place, you only have around 200 DPS or less, but it is going to do more damage than these torpedoes will. This build is great if you have 2 hounds and 1 hound has a target painter and a web. It will apply night and day how much damage it does to like a retriever, but it's still minimal and it doesn't do that much. Now let's just check our speed with a afterburner, 2300 meters a second. So if you get a web on you, you'll go around 800 and you should be able to escape the the clutches of a retriever. Let's pop our ballistic. This is with no damage rigs, 752 DPS. That's pretty good. But this is just a pretty common retriever or orca or whatever mining hunting build. You definitely hunt better in packs, so I would definitely go with a interceptor to complement you so you don't get killed by a retriever, embarrassingly. Now going into this build, this is the non-tackle build. You aren't really going to be tackling with this because you won't have the speeds to tank, to say the least. Of course, going with the best missiles possible is key in this scenario, but any missiles, any large torpedoes are going to do a buttload of damage to battle cruisers and up. This one is somebody tackled your ship and you bring in a Hound 3 to bang out a battleship and put some work into it. 100% you want a target painter. This is going to help your application of damage. Now this is kind of like the negotiable spot. You can do a tracking disruptor, missile disruptor, just kind of whatever you want. A second target painter, second disruptor. You do want your predator warp disruptor though, just to get a little bit more points on the target. But if you have enough tackle, or if you think you have enough tackle, you can skip that. The afterburner is optional. I typically like going with a micro warp drive, but if you get scrammed, you're dead. But the afterburner with enough speed will give you some pretty decent tank, and definitely not against drones. So if drones come at you with a afterburner, you either want to stealth right away or warp out. You do not want to try to tank those. They will absolutely shred you, especially on specific ships. Cloaking device, and then this one you 100% want your ballistic control system. You hopefully won't be doing the tanking, but you want all out DPS. You want to put the work into the ship. Now in my case, I put velocity on this veteran core, but I would change it to a missile DPS, and I would go with 3, maybe 1 ranged or all 3 of them DPS rigs. 2 of the activation times and 1 collision works the best because these large torpedoes have such a long cooldown, 13.75 seconds. Now with two activation time rigs, you can get this all the way to about 8 to 9 seconds, which is pretty damn good. And the collision will just kind of amplify these massive torpedo damage per shot. Now, for the electronic slots, I would potentially, you can go with a inertia, and this is going to be a T1 or T2. Or you can do 3 velocities if you think you want a speed tank. All tier 1 velocities will do. You can do a micro warp drive rig where it reduces the capacitor needed per cycle. That's a good one. You can do a CCC or a capacitor multiplier. Actually, I would skip the CCC and capacitor multiplier. If you see here a capacitor 7 minutes, you are not going to be tanking. You have no recovery. You are just there to put work in, tracking disrupt them, and whatnot. You can do a missile disruption in this slot too, but this is kind of like the all-out DPS. I've also seen people put 2 ballistic control systems on there. These things go pretty fast in general. So if we put 2 ballistics on there, our passive goes to 617. Now with all DPS rigs, this thing goes up to 1,000 to I think 1,300 DPS, which is absolutely crazy. Especially the application amount on battleships, you do like 10k volleys. It's absolutely crazy. Let's just pop these. Look at this. Yeah, we're already to 1,000 DPS with 2 ballistics on. With those rigs down there, it just goes up even more. Alright, this is the pretty common build. We're going to get Okay, we can't do any damage. All we are trying to do is lock them down. Alright, bam. There we go. Let's go loot him up and check out the kill mail. And we're looking at 708 million ISK. Holy smokes. Woof. That was a juicy. Had Explorer and everything. Well, Judah here. Damn good fight. I watch your vids, bro. I'm gonna say good fight, my friend.
Okay, we got a small
Where
ship.
we supposed to be?
We got a Navy Vexer. Banger pass. What do you guys think?
Or I can get back home.
That's like 10 minutes.
Alright, you want to pass? Pass on the poor Navy Vexer?
Oh, let's get him.
You want to get him?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay. Here we go. I'm warping to him now. Let's see if I die from a Navy Vexer. This thing isn't meant to tackle cruisers.
Gun active.
Okay, I got him tackled. I'm not doing too bad DPS. 800 a volley. Okay, get in here, guys. Take him out. Take this poor Vexer out. Murder him. Get in there, Pryor. Slap his cheeks. Where you at, Pryor?
Yeah.
Slap his cheeks, bro. Get up in those cheeks. Yeah, dogpile him. Dogpile is 80 million Vexer. Woohoo! Going down.
Got it.
Adios. Oh wow, that actually wasn't too bad. 169 mil C-types. Woo, nice call, guys. Okay, we got somebody here. Alright, guys, you ready for this?
It's not at the gate, is it?
Nope, we got 2 Dominixes, a Raven, and a Megatron.
Yes.
Let's go.
Let me sneak up on him, hold on. Maybe we can snag one of them.
We're all gonna die.
Okay, you ready?
Yeah. We're jumping. Which one you going now?
I got the Raven tackled. Okay, get that Raven. We got the Raven tackled, guys. Okay, here we go. Let's see what kind of DPS we can put on this. Woo, 3,400 volley. He's checking it out. He left his poor friend. There's nothing he can do. Ooh, there we go. Oof, not bad. 812 mil. Well, that's going to do it for this video. With the storyline runners becoming more and more tougher to tackle, I'm trying to think of intricate ways to tackle them and lock them down long enough to get people on top of them. A lot of times these storyline runners are over 100 kilometers away, so warping your fleet in quickly takes a while, especially if they're in cruisers or battleships. Trying to get 100 kilometers towards the target takes some time. There are lots of different ways to build the Hound. Of course, the bomber mode is completely useless, even on battleships. Gives you extended range of like 40 or 50, 60 kilometers, but it just doesn't do much damage. Getting up close and actually shooting them in your actual range is where it's at. Attaching rigs with application like explosion radius and stuff like that honestly does not affect the Hound that much at all. Putting a damage rig, a calefaction on there actually does more damage because I'm not sure the mechanics behind it, but it seems like it does more damage even if it's not applying that much. So I'd probably stay away from those rigs, especially when you're shooting battleships. That's what these things are pretty much meant for, shooting battleships, and you do not need those rigs on there. But just let me know in the comments how you're going to be fitting your Hound, if you think this is a viable build. And yeah, I'll see you on the next one. Peace.